Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. So continuing on with talking about computers, building a super fast computer for video processing for photography, we want to look at video cards. Video cards are very important in today's computers because they take on a lot of the load of processing, especially video, but also photography when you get into special effects and different things you can do now in Photoshop. You can range on video cards, you can spend a fortune on them, or you can get in at around $100 for the minimum requirements. So basically I just want to discuss what's going to be going into my new build and what your options are on here. Now, basically, got them listed here so I don't give you the misspeak and give you the wrong information, but Adobe's approved video cards is actually a relatively limited list, and I think this is basically because Adobe doesn't have the resources or doesn't want to expend the resources to go and test every card out there. So basically, the cards that are within reasonable price, and by reasonable I mean $500 and under, you've basically for Premiere Pro, you've got the GTX 580, the 570, the 470, and the 285. Now, if you're looking at After Effects as well, if you're using the production suite, the GTX 680 also shows up on their approved list. So, to give you an idea of some of these cards, we'll look at some of the prices on them and some of the differences. I wouldn't look at the 285 probably anymore just because it's getting older. Basically, those are the approved cards. And we're also going to look at some of the non-approved cards, or cards that will work but aren't on the approved list. There's a way to hack these cards that everybody uses, and it basically just writes your card's number into the approved file in the software. So it's not really a hack other than it's just adding the card's information into the file so that you can use it and use the Mercury playback engine, which is what we're trying to enable here. Basically, I guess what I should say as well is that what you're looking for is a card that has Cuda cores, and you need a certain number of those. Basically, you don't want under about 192. Cuda cores you can basically think of as the processing engines on the card, which allows you to take advantage of some of the speed and let the video card take some of the load off your machine and speed up rendering and things like that. So what we're looking at here is an entry-level card that you can get for about $100 is a GTX 550 Ti. Now this isn't on the approved list, but you can get it for about $100. It has 192 CUDA cores of DDR5 and a gig of DDR5 memory with 192-bit memory on it of that DDR5. So that's the memory, the bandwidth we're basically looking at. So this card, it kind of be about the minimum card you want to look at for using Photoshop and for using After Effects and Premiere Pro. I have one here. This is actually the 2 meg version, the 2 gig version, the 2 gig DDR5 version. This is what I'm going to try. This is what I'm going to run right now and see how it goes. Again, with the 2 gig version, I think I paid $129.99 after a rebate. You can get them on Amazon for that price, so you can have a look there. I think they were $130 to $9.99, but they have a rebate as well, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, you're looking at the minimum requirements that's going to speed up your system in a card right here. You don't really want to go below this, but this may be all you need depending on what you're doing. Next, you can step up into the 560 Ti. So this is a 550. You can step into the 560 Ti, and it's $209 for the 1 gig version or $235 for the 2 gig. It has 384 CUDA cores. So basically, twice the number of CUDA cores. You can look at that as twice the processing engines, and it is a 256-bit memory, so the bandwidth there, and that's DDR5 as well. So a bit of a step up there for about twice the price, basically. Then we're getting into the 570, which is on the approved list. You can get that at Amazon. I just checked right now for $264.99. This has 480 CUDA cores, so again, moving up in the number of CUDA cores, and 320-bit DDR5 memory. So This is a pretty decent, pretty well-spec card for $265. Move into the GTX 580, which is on the approved list as well, and you're looking at 512 CUDA cores, 384-bit memory of DDR5 memory. So basically you're looking at $437 or so was what Amazon just had that listed for. These are as of today, early November. See, so if you're watching this video at a later point, the pricing may be down, or you could have a new introduction of cards and you may not be able to get some of these models. So again, you're stepping up almost twice the price there, about almost $200 more into the 580. I would think that the 570 is probably a better price point of value for your money there, because you're going from 480 to 512 CUDA cores, so not a lot more CUDA cores. You are stepping into 384-bit memory, but not a huge jump from the 320-bit. So for the $265, I would think the GTX 570 is a better price value for performance. Next, we step into the GTX 670, which isn't on the approved list, but it's at $359 on Amazon. It has 1,344 CUDA cores and 256-bit DDR5 memory. Now, you might think that with that much more CUDA cores, it's a definite shoe-in over the 580 or the 570, but this is not necessarily the case because they have the wider bandwidth on the memory. So in tests, they actually may be fairly similar, because you're getting that bigger pipe for your memory allows you to put through more, which is going to offset the greater number of CUDA cores. Then we get up to the GTX 680, which is actually on Adobe's approved list for After Effects. It's $469, and it has 1,536 CUDA cores with 256 bit memory. That's DDR5. So that's probably your ultimate card on their approved list now. Definitely their newest card on the approved list, unless you get into much higher cards. There are higher end cards. As I said earlier, we're staying with about $500 and below. That 680 card being $469. So I would think if you're looking at the high end of these cards for this price range, the 580 or the 680 is the way to go. The 670 and the 570, again, are decent cards. You save a little bit and probably similar performance. As I mentioned, I've gone with the GTX 550 Ti. Again, you're getting it for about $130, so I want to see how well it does in the system. If I find it's a bottleneck, I will upgrade and I'll sell this one, because it will have only been, virtually new, only used for a week or two after testing it. But it's a good start. You get the advantages of a card with CUDA cores, the advantages of a card that lets you use the Mercury playback engine, which is what we're trying to enable here. You need one of these cards to use that engine, and it allows you to get in there at $130 as opposed to $265, $400 and something, those higher price levels. So that's what I've decided to go with, is the 550 Ti, to try it out, simply because of the price. It's a sweet spot on price just to get into this level of card. If you want something better, I definitely think that the 570 is a real sweet spot on price right now, because it's $265 on Amazon, $264.99. With 480 CUDA cores at 320 bit, it's got the wider bit memory and still quite a few CUDA cores, 480. The 670, again, it looks nice as well, 1344 CUDA cores, 256-bit memory. And if you want to go all out, probably either the 580 or the 680 is the way to go there. Again, you're looking at $437 and $469. So this gives you an idea of the pricing. You're basically the steps you can go in pricing, and where you can start. Again, the GTX 550 Ti may be all you need and will enable you to get the Mercury playback engine running. You'll have to use the hack. What I'll do, folks, is when I say the hack, you have to rewrite the text file that says it's okay to use this card with the playback engine, and it does work. I've enabled mine in the Adobe Premiere Pro and in After Effects and whatnot. So I'll put a link below on how to do that. There's actually a little program that a fella's written online that works very well, does it automatically for you. So I'll put a link to that for you, and hopefully this helps you, gives you some idea of what you want to look at as far as a video card that's going to work well with Premiere Pro, After Effects, and even Photoshop when you're trying to accelerate your system. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon, and I will show you all the other components I've put together to build my computer and let you know which way I went between the i7-3930K and the i7-3770K. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned. We'll be back soon with some new articles, some new videos, and we'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of photography here at artoftheimage.com. Thanks, folks.